What's up everybody, my name is the Holy Apple and welcome to a new video. So this week I'm going to be talking about Season of the Plunder. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about like what it actually brings to the table, because I think a lot of people can agree that this season is a lot more fun compared to previous seasons. It's a nice refreshing change. It's kind of like we know the witness is coming, so that's going to come in Lightfall. And Season of the Haunted, which has just gone past, that was basically mostly to forward the story in that kind of term. Whereas this one just seems like it's just wacky, off the walls, kind of crazy, because it's to do with pirates and it's a lot of Fallen Eliksni kind of stuff, which is really good to see, because I didn't know if Mithrax was going to have a season at all when it comes past Witch Queen. It kind of felt like he was just going to be a side character from here on forth, but I'm really glad that isn't the case, and he is actually coming back as a new season, which is really cool. And of course, the interactions between Mithrax and a certain couple of individuals that are actually in this season are really good to actually show as well. So for all intents and purposes, I'm not going to talk about the story really, because I don't want to spoil it for you, because I don't like talking about spoilers on the channel. It is just one of those things that I try not to do. I will try to obviously show you what is in the Season of the Plunder without spoiling too much. I kind of want to give you an idea of, is it worth buying it or is it worth just skipping this one? My personal opinion would be straight off the bat that you should just buy it, because it definitely feels like you'll be missing out big time if you don't. But at the same time, it is also one of those seasons where you don't necessarily have to buy it if you don't want to. If pirates and like basically ship crashing is not your kind of thing, then by all means you could take a season out. It's entirely up to you. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is the actual story so far, not specifically what happens in the story, just that it definitely feels like Bungie is still in form when it comes to their storytelling, because despite the fact that this season is more focused around fun, or it feels like it anyway, there is still quite nice storytelling undergoing as well. Like, I think the Drifter comes back for a bit of storytelling, and also Mithrax is there as well, and a couple of other characters which I won't mention, but you can definitely feel like some kind of bond forming when it comes to that group of individuals, and at the same time, it kind of ties into the overall story of like what others have been doing when others are taking the limelight, so it's quite nice to see. And of course, like I said, Bungie storytelling, they are quite informed at the moment, so it's really having a big massive improvement on the quality. Not to mention, we do have now a secondary use for the Eliksni quarter, which is also nice to see, because that's one of the main parts of this new storytelling area, and we have a new zone within the Eliksni quarter, but I won't say what it is because it is part of the story and you have to find out for yourself. But we're going to move on to Ketchcrash, which is the 6-man activity that comes along this season. So this is actually going to be something interesting to talk about, because I personally enjoy this quite a lot. Much like the Wellspring activity that came out with the Witch Queen, there's a few orients for this. So there is actually 3 variations that you can get for the Ketchcrash. It looks like 3 different captains with different boss fights, because we've just had a new one as of this week. And basically it seems like there is a range of different components to lead up to the boss fight, and then at the end of the boss fight, the boss fights can vary as well depending on the week, which is quite nice to see. It seems like they're using the formula of it's the same zone but different variations to mix it up, which is quite nice. But Ketchcrash in a nutshell is basically you start on your own ship. I won't go too much on how you get to said ship, it's part of the story. But you start on your own ship and you basically invade another ship to take down that ship's captain. And to do that, you have a team of 6 guardians. On top of this, you also are able to summon specific NPCs that help you with this as well. Like, I think there is 3 different variants of NPC that you can summon. One is a servitor, the other is a sniper, and I think one is a melee specialist, like one with 2 blades. It's basically the Eliksni vandals that sprint at you and try to stab you. It's basically one of them. But basically you can summon these to help you in the various activities with this season. And speaking of the various activities of this season, there is the Expedition, which is a 3-man activity. And this is basically a treasure hunt, more or less. I think this has slight inspiration from Grasp of Avarice with the loot cave, but you're basically assigned to defend a mining rig of some sort, and you have to walk around the map defending this, but at the same time it will make stops and mine treasure, and you have to then pick up these treasure things, which are basically the engrams from the Grasp of Avarice dungeon, and you then have to deposit these into the mining rig to then score points and progress through the expedition quest itself. Eventually you get to the end, and then there is a boss you can defeat to then complete the activity itself, which will give you some Season of the Plunder reward. And on top of this, there is also a new artifact quest-like thing, like for example with the Season of the Chosen's hammer. I can't remember the name of it exactly, but you can basically put charges into it. It's basically a book/map thing. You just basically buy a map like you would with the charges for the hammer. Then you can allocate specific wars that you can redeem at the end of the expedition missions, which can be, I think the regular one, this is what you start off with. Then you get the Glimmer. There's a weapon one from what I'm seeing. There's an armor one. So you can kind of like specialize your awards in that way. On to the next bit of activities, we have the Pirate Lairs. So the Pirate Lairs are part of the main story, but I'm not going to go too much into the story, like I said. Just know that these Pirate Lairs can be done with 3-man fire teams, but honestly, these feel much more like Lost Sectors, so they can be done solo quite easily. The first one me and my mate did, we cleared it in 2 minutes flat because we just blew through everything. And then the second one I did on my own, it took me, I think, 4 minutes, maybe 5 off the top of my head. They're not very hard to do, but they are a nice little twist on what is already shaping up to a really good season. It's just something extra that comes along with it, and it's quite nice. Not to mention the story is heavily tied into these pirate layers, which is why I'm trying to be very careful of what I say. So finally, we have the treasure maps extra quest, and the reason I say this is an extra quest is because it kind of is, kind of isn't. So basically, as you get your reputation up, you would unlock these like bottled maps kind of things that you can take from the actual big servitor in the helm, or I think it's a servitor, it looks like one. But basically it's called the star map. So you can take these bottled maps and basically go on a little quest where you would have to decipher these maps for yourself or look up guides. It's entirely down to you. I'm sure the full guide is out on the internet already. But basically you have to pick out keywords in a sentence message for, it's like it's kind of like an old pirate's tale, so kind of like a poem in a way, and then it's got specific words that you have to cipher out and decide where it is on the map. So obviously as you get like the further ones, I think there's 3 in total, but basically they'll get harder as you go and longer, because I think the first one was 4 steps, the second one that I've now done is 5 steps, and I want to say the last one's going to be 6 steps, but I obviously can't say for sure. I imagine this is leading to some kind of exotic quest for the season, but that remains to be seen. I'm not 100% sure myself. This could be a catalyst for all I know. But I just know that it's definitely a nice addition on top of everything that we've been given already. So my overall opinion for Season of the Plunder, now that a lot of the bugs have been ironed out because it was a bit of a buggy mess on the first week, I would definitely recommend this is definitely something to come back to if you're looking into coming back to Destiny, because it's not a season designed on story, it is just a season designed on dumb fun. You don't need to know much of the previous story lore to kind of get into it. It's just, this is how it is, so go in and raid stuff as a pirate is basically the gist of the season. But that's going to be everything from me. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this is informational for you if you're thinking of buying a Season of the Plunder. But obviously let me know down in the description below if you agree or disagree with this, or if you have any other additional comments for it. I would love to hear them. Obviously leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well, because it helps out immensely. But that is everything from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video.